the American people might wonder about your qualifications, Madam Secretary, when you voted for the war in Iraq, the most disastrous foreign policy blunder in the modern history of America.
That's Bernie Sanders, no more Mr. Nice Guy, pulling off the gloves, going at it with Hillary Clinton as they do the big showdown in New York State. Joining us on the line right now is Ed Henry from Fox News, a man who's been tasked with going out and covering Hillary and keeping tabs and feeling the burn from time to time. How are you there, Ed?
Good morning. Good to talk to you. How are you?
I just want you to know that no more Mr. Nice Guy was not a reference to you at all. No. We think you're a very nice guy.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm just a little worried about Larry. You know, he comes on Fox every now and again, and you're very familiar with Fox, but some of the outfits he wears, I mean, we're just getting worried about him.
Yeah.
Oh, really, Mr. Pocket Square? We're going to start going there? Okay,
well,
fine scoop.
Match. I just want you to get the shirt and tie and jacket to kind of, I don't know, doesn't have to
At least I'm memorable.
You are.
All I can tell you is I try. I try to give the young man guidance.
It's true, he does.
He doesn't listen to me.
The hair is to frame the face.
That's right. The purpose of hair is to frame the face. Okay. Oh, listen, we're way off topic. You're covering Hillary, you're covering Bernie, and it's getting ugly out there.
Yeah, it is. And I think the question is going to be, is this just kind of a head fake or, you know, one little punch, one little jab, or is Bernie Sanders really going to follow it up? I mean, they have one last debate next Thursday in New York City. I'll be there, and I think we've heard Bernie Sanders sort of walk up to the line of really taking Hillary Clinton head on and then kind of walking it back. You remember the now infamous email situation last October where he said, I don't care about your damn emails.
Yeah.
And there have been questions about, you know, whether the campaign regrets not going full bore for this and also not competing in the South, for example. I mean, the Sanders campaign basically ceded the South to Hillary Clinton. She cleaned up a lot of delegates there, and now he's a few hundred behind. He's won 6 in a row, so he has momentum now. And I think the other question is going to be, does he follow through, as I said, but also, does this wake up Hillary Clinton? You know, does she now have her back against the wall and say, New York, her adopted home state, is a must-win, and do some of these jabs from Sanders make her counterpunch to the point that she finally puts him away?
And you reported earlier this week, Ed Henry, how Bernie Sanders absolutely trounced Hillary Clinton this first quarter in fundraising. And you've got to think, since Hillary focuses on these big money donors, they're limited in the primary season. So it's not like she can keep going back to them and asking for more. But Bernie, it's the opposite.
Yeah, they maxed out. And, I mean, you know, without getting too far in the weeds, all people need to know is that in the month of March, Bernie Sanders raised $44 million. Hillary Clinton raised $29.5. So here's somebody who's the front runner, the inevitable nominee. By now, if you're in second place, a few hundred delegates behind, what happens to a Marco Rubio or almost anyone else in the presidential race is your donors dry up. Just the opposite is happening with Bernie Sanders. He's got a $15 million edge in the month of March alone because his folks are enthusiastic, they're energetic. And frankly, that's the ingredient that's missing from Hillary Clinton's campaign. She's got the endorsements and all kinds of other stuff, but she doesn't have that kind of enthusiasm.
How often do you, as someone who's out there on the campaign trail or your producers, get the chance to ask questions directly to Hillary Clinton?
It's rare. Yeah. I mean, she did some yesterday. You'll see the tape from the Bronx, but they sort of told the press pool at the last minute, so there was just a handful of people there. They had said she was doing an event in New York City, but they didn't tell us where. So, I mean, as you know, New York's kind of a big place. We can take her out, but we can't be in every borough.
I raised this question because I read this story this morning about how people out now covering the Hillary campaign, there was a fundraiser, and, you know, reporters usually are not allowed to cover the speech given during a fundraiser, but they're kept at some distance. But in this particular case, it was an outdoor venue, and if you listen very carefully to the PA system across the way, you could pick up what was being said. And so that didn't happen, they actually brought out a device and aimed it at the press corps that generated noise that sounds like a helicopter, so you couldn't hear what she was saying.
The noise machine, as I understand. I wasn't there because it was in Colorado, as I understand it, Governor Hickenlooper's home. I've never heard of someone doing something like that. I do remember, as you'll probably recall, in the 2012 campaign, Mitt Romney got burned. It wasn't the 47% comment, but it was some other comments he made, I think in Palm Beach, Florida. And it was the same kind of deal where it was sort of outdoors, beautiful weather, and some reporters kind of pressed their ear to the fence and heard some things Mitt Romney said behind closed doors that were embarrassing. And so the Clinton campaign, I guess, is taking extraordinary measures to make sure we don't listen in. But, yeah, it's very rare that we get a chance to ask her questions. up until recently, we went something like 90 days without having a full-fledged news conference. I mean, that's a long time, for a front runner, number one, not a random candidate, but number two, somebody who, let's remember, is under investigation by the FBI.
Well, and let's talk about that. I mean, you may not get to question her, but you get to witness the goings-on, the attitude of the campaign handlers, and I'm guessing you get to, at the very least, interview some of the campaign staff. Yeah. What is the mood? Are they really just brushing this off like dirt on the shoulder? They don't think there's a problem with the FBI?
Yeah, they do think the FBI ultimately is not going to indict or suggest an indictment, because that would be the Justice Department, but also they feel that in the long run she'll be exonerated. It might take some time. And frankly, they think that, they're very confident that in the end, yes, Sanders has the momentum and has the money, but obviously money doesn't always matter most, especially this year. See, Bush, Jeb, in terms of money. Yeah. But also that the math is more important than the money or the momentum. And the fact is, she still has this big delegate lead. Bernie Sanders has to not just win New York and California on June 7th, for example. He's got to win them big to make up for the gap he has right now. Is it possible? Yes, but it's still an uphill climb.
Yeah, so, a lot of people have said maybe there'll be another contested convention on the other side as well. What do you think the percentages are?
Oh, I think that's pretty low. It's definitely lower than the Republican side. But is it possible that Bernie Sanders denies Hillary Clinton a clear win before late July in Philly? Yes, it's possible, and the way he'd have to do it is not just the pledged delegates in the states, but since you have the superdelegates, the party bosses, who are largely siding with Hillary Clinton. I think the scenario is Bernie Sanders goes on a run, shocks the world, and beats Hillary Clinton in her adopted home state of New York, wins California, and then all of a sudden he's winning these big states, he's winning on her turf, and the superdelegates start fleeing her. And say, and then deny, maybe they don't give him enough to win, but they deny her the magic number. The problem with that scenario, I want to make clear, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I mean, 5, 6, 7 big things have to happen.
Yeah, a lot of ifs there. Yeah.
Stranger things have happened this year. And by the way, if the FBI does something dramatic, that obviously changes everything that we're thinking right now.
All right. Ed Henry with Fox News, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to see you both. Have a good
and you and I will keep working on Larry and his wardrobe, okay?
It's a tough battle. Yeah.